Hey folks, my name is Joel Thomas. I'm back here again, reporting from Cheverly, Maryland. Wanted to provide some additional COVID-19 perspectives based upon the latest news that's come out today. So we have seen that our country's government has taken the most aggressive posture possible on many fronts, where governors and mayors are shutting down restaurants, asking people to self-quarantine, asking people to only go out if it is absolutely necessary. Many employers are offering work from home as an option. The Small Business Administration has offered an emergency loan program for small businesses, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. I'd like to talk about how we are thinking about this new normal that we're in, and also put a thought in your mind today about the fact that this is not going to be a 2-week disruption. Many of the requests from governors to date have been 2-week school closures. You even heard the president talk about 15 days slowing down this curve. The reality is this, and I've said this from the beginning, this is not going to be any shorter than a 12-week event, and it's actually more likely to be somewhere in the 8 to 20-week window. The CDC actually validates this claim, saying that really a 2-week closure on all business and schools doesn't actually have any statistical significance in terms of stopping or slowing a widespread contagion like coronavirus. But it has a greater chance of actually slowing the spread, and actually making a difference if it's a measure that's put in place for a longer period of time, like 8 to 20 weeks. So I'm here today to tell you this: it's time to think about building a long-term plan. How are you going to live your life for the next 12 to 20 weeks? And we're talking June through August. And I think that is real. That is more likely the case. I think that we will see that in some parts of the country, some schools will not reopen this year. I think we will see situations where, based upon the current decisions that are made, is it likely that in 2 weeks the coronavirus numbers are going to be lower? No, they won't. And so at what point will governors and mayors feel comfortable actually reopening business as usual, or asking people to get back to their normal lives? I think hopefully people are looking for that curve to flatten. The reality is we're at the very beginning of the life cycle of this coronavirus. We have 4,600 or more cases in the United States at this point. A week ago we had half of that. We're just seeing the tip of the iceberg right now, knowing that community spread is widespread across the country. So it's time to make a new to plan for the new normal by making a long-term plan. Now, let's think about this, and I've said this in previous videos. There could come a point where our governors and mayors could ask us, or our president could ask us, to self-quarantine. We're seeing that begin to happen in parts of the country, and I think that in the greater Washington, D.C. area where I live, it's highly likely that this will happen in the near term. There's very few tools left in the toolbox to execute with the closure of restaurants and businesses today, Monday, March 16th. That's a big one. There are obviously retail stores that are open still, and I still encourage you, like I have in my previous videos, to make every effort to buy local. Do so online, buy gift cards, have some no-contact delivery. I did it myself. I was very pleased with some local businesses who normally didn't deliver, but I called them and they delivered things to our home. So I've personally had a great experience, and encourage you to do the same because it's needed. The loan assistance provided by the Small Business Administration is a great gesture, but a lot of businesses are not going to be interested in taking on debt right now when there's no evidence of being able to create and generate revenue anytime in the near future. So I'd like to just put this in your mind, that the plan you've made for 2 weeks, America, you need to really extend that planning horizon. Government officials aren't saying that necessarily across the board, although we're seeing indications of that. Even the president today said this could go until August in terms of this period of crisis. So I think the reality is it will go into at least the summer. And I think now's the time to build a 12-week plan. And I think you can reevaluate in 12 weeks where we are, and it might then need to be extended another 12 weeks or so. But I think at minimum, build 12 weeks. How are we handling, children at home, working at home, your food provisions, thinking about, again, food, water, cash, medicines, thinking about that in advance. So I say that saying, I remain in the same way that I've said in previous times. It's time to be calm. It's also time to be pragmatic. And so what I'm asking here is for folks to consider, just in this moment, given the national moment that we're in, things are not going in reverse anytime soon. And so it's time to treat this seriously. The threats to life are still the same, relatively very low for the majority of the populace, but the elderly and the vulnerable are those to be concerned about. So I ask you also, look out for your neighbors, look out for the elderly. Let's be in touch. Let's find ways to help them and help facilitate getting them the food and medicines and resources that they need, and staying in contact so that we don't lose social cohesion. Social distance doesn't mean that we have to lose social cohesion. So let's reach out to the vulnerable, the elderly, those who are at a disadvantage in this situation, and see what we can do to help each other. So I'll leave you with that. Build a long-term plan. Brace yourself. 2 weeks isn't enough. We're talking at least June, more likely August, before things begin to change. I'll be back more in the future, but wanted to provide you with that update today. And if you have any questions, feel free to contact me, and encourage you to follow this channel. Oh, and my lovely daughter. She's happy to provide some expert advice. Right?
Yeah.
All right. Thanks.
Why do you